It was just a few days ago, last Sunday, at my church where I'm actually a member and was worshiping as one of the members. We reflected on generosity. What is required of you? What will you give back for the good of others from what you have received? How generous can you and will you be? In the Torah, we learn that a tithe is what's expected. In Leviticus, we read, "A tenth of the land's produce, whether grain from the ground or fruit from the trees, is God's. It is holy to God." But I wonder what our giving says about our relationship with God, our neighbor, and ourselves. So I share these thoughts from God, who created all things good and who continues to bless us with an abundance of grace, and from mortals. From Genesis 1, according to Eugene Peterson's The Message. God spoke, "Let us make human beings in our image. Make them reflecting our nature so they can be responsible for the fish in the sea, the birds in the air, the cattle, and yes, earth itself, and every animal that moves on the face of the earth." God created human beings. God created them godlike, reflecting God's nature. God created them male and female. God blessed them. Prosper, reproduce, fill the earth, take charge. Be responsible for the fish of the sea and the birds of the air, for every living thing that moves on the face of the earth. Then God said, "I've given you every sort of seed-bearing plant on earth and every kind of fruit-bearing tree, given them to you for food, to all animals and all birds, everything that moves and breathes. I give whatever grows out of the ground for food." And there it was. God looked over everything that he made. It was so good, so very good. It was evening. It was morning. Day 6. In Jesus' day, there was no social security net like we have with Social Security, uncertain as we might feel our own is. So they relied on their families to care for the widows and orphans. You may remember that many religious leaders often tested Jesus along the way, trying to trip him up, best him. In Matthew 22, the story begins this way. Sadducees did not believe that people would rise to life after death. They didn't believe in the resurrection. But some of the Sadducees came to Jesus and said, "Hey, teacher, Moses wrote that if a married man dies and has no children, his brother should marry the widow." And then they told this story. The first son would then be responsible for bearing that first son and dedicate that first son to the deceased brother. So the story that they told went like this. Once there were 7 brothers who lived here, and a man married a woman and died, leaving no heir. So she married the second brother and the third, and each of them died with no heir, and then the woman died. So they asked, these people who did not believe in the resurrection, they asked, When God raises people from death, whose wife will this woman be? She had been married to all 7 brothers. Jesus answered, "You are completely wrong. You don't know what the scriptures teach, and you don't know anything about the power of God. When God raises people to life, they won't marry. They'll be like angels in heaven. And as for people being raised to life, God was speaking to you when he said, 'I am the God worshipped by Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.' He isn't the God of the dead, but of the living." The crowds were surprised to hear what Jesus was teaching. And then after he made the Sadducees look foolish, the Pharisees heard about it, and they got together. And one of them was an expert in the Jewish law, so he tried to test Jesus by asking, "Teacher, what is the most important commandment in the law?" Maybe you remember this one. "Love the Lord your God with all your heart and soul and mind." This is the first and most important commandment. The second most important commandment is like this: love others as much as you love yourself. All the laws of Moses and the books of the prophets are based on these 2 commandments. In other words, God commanded us to be generous in caring for all that God made. Jesus framed it in these 2 commandments: love God, love neighbor and self. In Luke 6, we hear a message on the cost of discipleship. Jesus climbed a mountain to pray. He was there all night in prayer before God. The next day, he summoned his disciples and then selected 12. Simon, Andrew, James, John, Philip, Bartholomew, Matthew, Thomas, James, son of Alphaeus, Simon called the Zealot, Judas, son of James, Judas Iscariot, who betrayed him. Coming down off the mountain with them, he stood on a plain, surrounded by disciples, and was soon joined by a huge congregation from all over Judea and Jerusalem, even from the seaside towns of Tyre and Sidon. They had come both to hear him and to be cured of their diseases. Those disturbed by evil spirits were healed. Everyone was trying to touch him. So much energy surging from him. So many people healed. And then he spoke. "You're blessed when you've lost it all. God's kingdom is there for the finding. You're blessed when you're ravenously hungry. Then you're ready for the messianic meal. You're blessed when the tears flow freely. Joy comes in the morning. Count yourself blessed every time someone cuts you down or throws you out, every time someone smears or blackens your name to discredit me. What it means is that the truth is too close for comfort, and the person is uncomfortable. You can be glad when that happens. Skip like a lamb, if you like. For even though they don't like it, I do. And all heaven applauds. And know that you are in good company. My preachers and witnesses have already been treated like this. But it's trouble ahead if you think you have it made. What you have is all you'll ever get. And it's trouble ahead if you're satisfied with yourself. Yourself will not satisfy you for long. And it's trouble ahead if you think life's all fun and games. There's suffering to be met, and you're going to meet it. There's trouble ahead when you live only for the approval of others, saying what flatters them, doing what indulges them. Popularity contests are not truth contests. Look how many scoundrel preachers were approved by your ancestors. Your task is to be true, not popular. To you who are ready for the truth, I say this: love your enemies. Let them bring out the best in you, not the worst. When someone gives you a hard time, respond with the supple moves of prayer for that person. If someone slaps you on the face, stand there and take it. If someone grabs your shirt, gift wrap your best coat and make it a present of it. If someone treats you unfairly, takes unfair advantage of you, use the occasion to practice the servant life. No more payback. Live generously. I tell you, love your enemies. Help and give without expecting a return. You'll never, I promise, never regret it. Live out this God-created identity the way our Father lives toward us, generously and graciously, even when we're at our worst. Our Father is kind. You be kind. Don't pick on people, jump on their failures, criticize their faults, unless, of course, you want the same treatment. Don't condemn those who are down. That hardness can boomerang. Be easy on people. You'll find life a lot easier. Give away your life. You'll find life given back, but not merely back. Given back with bonus and blessing. Giving, not getting, is the way. Generosity begets generosity. And Jesus quoted a proverb. Can a blind man guide a blind man? Wouldn't they both end up in the ditch? An apprentice doesn't lecture the master. The point is to be careful who you follow as your teacher. You've heard from Jesus, you've heard God's creation story. Now we turn to another great person. Warren Buffett shared these reflections in his 2025 Thanksgiving letter. To my fellow shareholders, I will no longer be writing Berkshire's annual report or talking endlessly at the annual meeting. As the British would say, I'm going quiet. Sort of. I will continue talking to you and my children about Berkshire via my annual Thanksgiving message. Berkshire's individual shareholders are a very special group who are unusually generous in sharing their gains with others less fortunate. I enjoy the chance to keep in touch with you. And then after writing an extended review of his own journey through life, through sickness, through health, through successes and not such successful times, and much more, he offers a few final thoughts. One perhaps self-serving occupation, he says. I'm happy to say I feel better about the second half of my life than the first. My advice: don't beat yourself up over past mistakes. Learn at least a little from them and move on. It is never too late to improve. Get the right heroes and copy them. You can start with Tom Murphy. He was the best. Remember Alfred Nobel, later of Nobel Prize fame, who reportedly read his own obituary that was mistakenly printed when his brother died and a newspaper got mixed up. He was horrified at what he read and realized he should change his behavior. Don't count on a newsroom mix-up. Decide what you would like in your obituary to say and live the life to deserve it. Pause for a moment. Others have said the same thing recently in my experience. Write your own obituary. What do you want others to know of your life? Buffett continues, greatness does not come about through accumulating great amounts of money, great amounts of publicity, or great power in government. When you help someone in any of thousands of ways, you help the world. Kindness is costless, but also priceless. Whether you are religious or not, it's hard to beat the golden rule as a guide to behavior. I write this as one who has been thoughtless countless times and made many mistakes, but also became very lucky in learning from some wonderful friends how to behave better. Still a long way from perfect, however. Keep in mind that the cleaning lady is as much a human being as the chairman of the board. Buffett concludes his letter. I wish all who read this a very happy Thanksgiving. Yes, even the jerks. It's never too late to change. Remember to thank America for maximizing your opportunities, but it is inevitably capricious and sometimes venal in distributing its rewards. Choose your heroes very carefully and then emulate them. You will never be perfect, but you can always be better. Jesus said in Luke 16, whoever is faithful with very little will also be faithful with much, and whoever is dishonest with very little will also be dishonest with much. One of my many heroes of faith, Dietrich Bonhoeffer, wrote in Life Together, because God has already laid the only foundation of our fellowship, because God has bound us together in one body with other Christians in Jesus Christ, long before we entered into common life with them, we enter into that common life, not as demanders, but as thankful recipients. We thank God for what He has done for us. We thank God for giving us brothers and sisters who live by His call, by His forgiveness, and His promise. In the Christian community, thankfulness is just what it is anywhere else in the Christian life. Only he who gives thanks for the little things receives the big things. We prevent God from giving us the great spiritual gifts He has in store for us because we do not give thanks for daily gifts. We think we dare not be satisfied with the small measure of spiritual knowledge, experience, and love that has been given to us, and that we must constantly be looking forward eagerly for the highest good. Then we deplore the fact that we lack the deep certainty, the strong faith, and the rich experience that God has given to others, and we consider this lament to be pious. We pray for the big things and forget to give thanks for the ordinary small, and yet not so very small, gifts. How can God entrust great things to one who will not thankfully receive from him the little things? If we do not give thanks daily for the Christian fellowship in which we have been placed, even where there is no great experience, no discoverable riches, but much weakness, small faith, and difficulty. If, on the contrast, we only keep complaining to God that everything is paltry and petty, so far from what we expected, then we hinder God from letting our fellowship grow according to the measure of riches which are there for all of us in Christ Jesus. This from a man who spent the end of his life in concentration camp. So with all of these words that I've spoken from all these different sources, I still wonder, how will I show by words and actions my thankfulness to God who has been so generous? Do I? How generous am I? How generous will I be in response to God's grace? And I wonder,